The pregnant bride was celebrating her wedding, but a poor child crashed the party with a photo. Jennifer raised her bouquet in pure joy when she sensed something was wrong. The music still played, the guests still applauded, but her eyes caught a strange movement among the elegant garden tables. A little girl was running toward her, clutching something desperately to her chest. Her simple, worn-out clothes contrasted with the luxury of the event, and her messy hair swayed as she got closer and closer. "Miss, Miss, in the white dress!" the child shouted, making some guests turn to look. Michael, the groom, immediately stepped in front of his wife, thinking it was just a lost child from around the ranch where they were holding the ceremony. "Easy there, little one. Are you lost?" he said kindly, but the girl completely ignored him, stretching her arms toward Jennifer and holding up an old scratched picture frame. "She's my mom. Do you know her?" she asked with tears in her eyes. Jennifer felt her blood run cold. Even from a distance, even after so many years, she recognized the face in the photo instantly. It was like looking into a mirror of the past. "Jessica," she whispered, barely audible. The music stopped abruptly when the girl shouted louder, "That's it, Jessica!" "You know my mom, Jessica," whispers spread among the guests. Michael held his wife's arm, feeling her tremble. "Jennifer, who is Jessica?" he asked softly. But she couldn't answer. Her eyes were fixed on the child, searching for familiar features in that thin little face and the big brown eyes shining with hope. "My name is Emma," the girl said, wiping her nose with the back of her hand. "My grandma is really sick, and she told me to find my mom's sister. She said you look just alike." The priest, still at the altar, watched in confusion. The guests began to gather, curious. Jennifer could feel the weight of over 100 eyes on her. "Sweetheart, maybe it's better to talk to the girl after the party," suggested Mrs. Susan, Michael's mother, stepping forward with a worried expression. "No," Emma shouted, clutching the hem of Jennifer's dress. "Grandma said I can't go back without talking to you. She's really sick and needs help." Jennifer bent down with difficulty, her dress and 6-month belly making the movement awkward. She gently took the picture frame and her breath caught. There was Jessica, her twin sister, smiling in the photo the way Jennifer hadn't seen her in nearly 10 years. The face was exactly like hers, just with a softer, maybe sadder expression. Where did you get this photo?" she asked, her voice choked. "It's my mom's. She left it when she went away," Emma replied, wiping more tears. "But Grandma said she didn't really leave. Grandma said she had to go because of a big fight with the family." Michael crouched beside his wife, looking back and forth between the photo and Jennifer. "Honey, she really looks just like you," he murmured, stunned. "Please, miss," Emma begged. "Grandma said only you can help find my mom. She said you fought about money, but deep down, you love each other so much." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. The silence was broken by the authoritative voice of Richard Thompson, Jennifer's father, and one of the most respected businessmen in the area. "What's going on here?" he asked, stepping forward with firm strides. "Who is this child?" Emma turned to him, and her eyes widened. "You!" she exclaimed. "Grandma has a picture of you too. She said you're my grandpa." Richard turned pale instantly. He looked at the girl, then at the photo in Jennifer's hands, and his expression hardened. "Security!" he shouted. "Remove this child immediately." "Dad, no!" protested Jennifer, standing up quickly. She might be... She's nothing to us." Richard cut in with a coldness that made several guests step back. "Jessica made her choice years ago. If she has a daughter to raise now, she can figure it out on her own." "Daddy!" Jennifer cried, shocked by her father's cruel words. "My mom's name is Jessica," shouted Emma, clinging even tighter to Jennifer's dress. "And Grandma said she's sick. She needs expensive medicine and we don't have money." Michael tried to intervene, but Richard had already signaled to the security staff working the event. "Mr. Richard," said Michael, trying to stay calm, "perhaps we should hear what the child has to say. If she really is—" "She's nothing," Richard exploded, and I demand she be removed before she ruins my daughter's wedding completely." Jennifer felt a wave of nausea that had nothing to do with her pregnancy. The memories she had buried so deep began to surface like ghosts from the past. Jessica, her twin sister, her childhood best friend, her teenage rival, and finally, her greatest disappointment in adulthood. "Grandma said you fought over great-grandmother Elizabeth's inheritance," Emma continued, ignoring the chaos around her, "and that my mom asked for help when she found out she was pregnant with me, but no one wanted to help." The girl's words stabbed at Jennifer's heart. She remembered that terrible afternoon 9 years ago when Jessica showed up at their parents' house, pregnant and desperate. She remembered refusing to help. She remembered the cruel words she'd said. She remembered Jessica leaving the house in tears, vowing never to return, and she'd kept that promise. "Jennifer," Michael called, holding her hand, "are you okay? You've gone very pale." Before she could answer, an elderly woman appeared at the garden entrance, leaning on a cane and panting. "Emma," she called hoarsely. "Emma, come back here." The girl let go of Jennifer's dress and ran toward the woman. "Grandma Martha," she cried. "I found her. I found Mommy's aunt." The woman, who looked about 70, walked slowly toward them. Her eyes scanned Jennifer from head to toe, and a sad smile formed on her lips. "Good Lord," she murmured. "You're the spitting image of my Jessica." "Who are you?" Richard asked, still trying to regain control. "I'm Martha Wilson," she replied with dignity, despite her simple clothes. "Jessica's adoptive mother. She came to live with me when you threw her out, pregnant and with nowhere to go." "Lies," Richard exploded. "Jessica left on her own. She chose the life she wanted." Martha laughed bitterly. "Chose? At 18, pregnant and threatened by her own father. What kind of choice is that?" Jennifer felt the ground spinning beneath her feet. Michael held her arm, worried. "Mrs. Martha," he said respectfully, "could you explain what happened? My wife doesn't seem well." "She doesn't feel well because she knows she was wrong," Martha replied, looking straight at Jennifer. "Just like this whole family wronged my girl." Emma moved closer to Jennifer again, holding out the photo. "Will you help me find my mom?" she asked hopefully. "Grandma said she's working in a big city, but she's sick and too ashamed to come back." Tears began to stream down Jennifer's face, smudging the makeup carefully applied for the wedding. I don't know where she is," she whispered. "But you're her sister," protested Emma. "Sisters always know where the other is." "Not always, dear," murmured Jennifer. "Sometimes sisters do things that drive them apart forever." Martha moved closer, leaning heavily on her cane. "Jessica used to tell me all about you two when you were little," she said softly. "She said you were inseparable, that you slept in the same bed, shared everything, promised you'd always be together." "It was true," admitted Jennifer, her voice breaking. "We were best friends." "Then what happened?" asked Martha. "Why, when she needed you most, did you turn your back?" Richard tried to intervene again, but Michael cut him off. "Mr. Thompson," he said firmly, "with all due respect, I'd like to hear my wife's side of the story." Jennifer looked at her husband, then at the girl, then at the photo still in her hands. Painful memories began to surface. "Jessica and I were identical twins," she began slowly. "But as we grew up, we became very different. She was always more free, more spontaneous. I was the rule follower, the responsible one." "Go on," encouraged Michael. "When great-grandmother Elizabeth passed away, she left a considerable inheritance to be split equally between us. But there was a condition. We'd only receive it when we turned 25 or married someone Dad approved of." Martha nodded as if she already knew this part. "Jessica fell in love with a boy Dad considered unsuitable," Jennifer continued. "A mechanic from a poor family. Dad forbade the relationship, but she kept seeing him in secret." "And you agreed with your father?" Martha asked disapprovingly. I thought she was being irresponsible," Jennifer admitted, tears welling up. "I thought she was making bad choices, throwing away all our opportunities. And when she got pregnant..." Martha pressed. Jennifer closed her eyes, feeling the pain of the memory. "She came to me in despair. The boyfriend had disappeared when he found out. She had no job, no money, and Dad had discovered everything. She begged me to intervene, to lend her money from my share of the inheritance until she got back on her feet. "And what did you do?" asked Michael, dreading the answer. "I told her she'd made her bed and now had to lie in it," Jennifer confessed, sobbing. "Said if she wanted to be independent and make her own choices, she'd have to face the consequences alone." The silence that followed was deafening. Emma looked at Jennifer with confusion. But your sisters," the girl said. "Why didn't you help?" "Because I was selfish," Jennifer replied, kneeling to meet the child's eyes. "Because I was jealous, angry, and too proud. And I made the biggest mistake of my life." Martha stepped forward and placed a trembling hand on Jennifer's shoulder. "Jessica cried for months," she said gently. "She kept saying you were the most important person in the world to her, that she couldn't understand how things had gotten so bad." "Where is she now?" Jennifer asked desperately. "Do you know where I can find her?" "She works in a nearby town," Martha answered. "But she's very sick. She has a serious heart condition that needs surgery, but she can't afford private care, and the public hospital wait list is too long." "Then let's go get her," Michael exclaimed. "We'll take her to the best doctor." "It's not that simple," Martha sighed. "Jessica is too proud. She made me promise never to tell the family where she is. She'd rather they think she just disappeared." "But she's suffering," Emma protested. "And I need my mom." Jennifer felt her heart shatter. She looked at her belly, where her own child was growing, and tried to imagine being separated from him for so long. "Mrs. Martha," she said firmly, "please tell me where she is. I promise I'll do everything to fix the mistakes of the past." "And what about me?" Richard asked bitterly. "Is no one going to ask if I approve of this decision?" Jennifer turned to her father with an expression he had never seen before. "No, Dad," she said firmly. "You've already made too many decisions about your daughters' lives, and every single one of them was wrong." Richard recoiled as if he'd been slapped. "Jennifer, I'm your father. I've always done what I thought was best for you." "Best?" she repeated, her voice rising. "Kicking a pregnant daughter out of the house is best? Threatening a scared young woman instead of supporting her is best? Making me believe Jessica had abandoned me when you were the one who drove her away?" "She made bad choices," Richard defended himself. "I couldn't let her ruin the family's reputation." "The family's reputation," Jennifer shouted. "What matters more, Dad? Reputation or your daughter's happiness?" Michael stood beside his wife, offering silent support. The guests watched in shock, many of them having known the family for years and never imagining these secrets existed. "Mrs. Martha," Michael said respectfully, "if you tell us where Jessica is, I promise we'll take care of everything. Medical treatment, housing, whatever she needs." "And how do I know you won't hurt her even more?" Martha asked suspiciously. "Jessica has already suffered enough. She doesn't deserve more disappointment." "Because I'm going with her," Jennifer said decisively, "and I'll spend the rest of my life begging for her forgiveness if I have to." Emma tugged at Jennifer's dress again. "Do you really promise you'll help my mom?" she asked, her eyes full of hope. "I promise," Jennifer replied, kissing the girl's forehead. "And I promise I'll try to be the aunt you deserve." Martha sighed deeply, seeming to make a difficult decision. "She's in Pittsburgh," she finally revealed. "She works for a cleaning company, but she's been missing a lot of work lately because of her health. She lives in a small rented room near downtown." "We'll go get her today," Michael declared. "No," Richard protested. "Today is my daughter's wedding. You're not going to ruin everything because of—" "Because of what, Dad?" Jennifer interrupted. "Because of your other daughter. Because of your granddaughter. Because of fixing the mistakes we made." "Jessica made her choices," Richard insisted stubbornly. "And I'm making mine now," Jennifer shot back. "And my choice is to go after my sister." Mrs. Susan, Michael's mother, stepped forward quietly. "Sweetheart," she said gently to Jennifer, "are you sure you want to do this? It's your wedding day." "Mom," Michael replied before Jennifer could speak, "the wedding already happened. We're husband and wife. Now we take care of our family. And Jessica is family." Jennifer looked at her husband with so much love, she felt her heart might burst with gratitude. Even without knowing the whole story, even in the middle of their own wedding, He was willing to stand by her completely. "Martha," she said, "could you give us the exact address where Jessica is?" "I can," the older woman replied, "but I have one condition." "Anything," Jennifer promised. "I'm coming with you," Martha declared. "Jessica will need someone she trusts to convince her to accept help." "And me too," Emma exclaimed. "I want to see my mom." Jennifer nodded, feeling for the first time in years that she was making the right decision. "Then we all go," she said, "right now." "Jennifer, you can't travel like this," Mrs. Susan protested. "You're pregnant, in that wedding dress." "I'll change in the car," Jennifer replied pragmatically. "What matters is we get there quickly." Richard made one last attempt. "If you do this, if you leave here to go after her, I'll disinherit you both," he threatened. Jennifer stopped and slowly turned to her father. "Dad," she said with unsettling calm, "you already lost one daughter because of your pride. Are you sure you want to lose the other too?" "She abandoned me," Richard shouted. "Jessica disrespected me, disobeyed me, brought shame to this family." "She was a scared young woman who made a mistake," Jennifer countered. "And instead of supporting her, you threw her out. Instead of helping her grow, you condemned her. Worse yet, you made me believe she was the villain in this story." "Because she was," Richard insisted. "No, Dad," Jennifer said sadly. "The villains were us, me, for being selfish and proud, and you, for choosing appearances over love." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps those of us just starting out. Now back to the story. Michael addressed the guests who had been watching everything in silence. "Everyone," he said loudly, "I apologize for the commotion, but we have an urgent family matter to resolve. Please feel free to enjoy the party. Food and drinks are on the house and the music will keep playing." "But Michael," protested one of the uncles, "you're leaving your own wedding?" "The wedding happened," he replied simply. "Now we're family, and families take care of each other." Jennifer knew she'd married the right man. She squeezed his hand tightly and turned to Martha and Emma. "Can you ride with us in our car?" "Of course," Martha said. "But first," she hesitated. "You should know Jessica might not want to see you. She's very thin, very weak, and ashamed of how she looks." "It doesn't matter," Jennifer said firmly. "She's my sister, and I should have been by her side from the start." They walked toward the parking lot, past guests watching them with curiosity and concern. Jennifer could hear the murmurs, the speculation, but for the first time in her life, she didn't care what people thought. In the car as Michael drove, Martha shared more about Jessica's life in recent years. "When she first came to my house, she was desperate," she began. "She cried every day, repeating that she'd lost the only person who ever truly mattered to her. I suffered too," Jennifer murmured, "but I thought she'd abandoned me." "Jessica worked up until the day she gave birth," Martha continued. "When Emma was born, she said she'd give everything to be a good mother, even if she had to do it alone." Emma, sitting between Jennifer and Martha in the back seat, clutched a photo of her mother to her chest. "My mum always talked about you," she told Jennifer. "She has a picture of you too from when you were little. She looks at it every night before bed." Jennifer's heart ached even more. She had the same photo, tucked away in a drawer for years because it hurt too much to see it. "Why did she leave Mrs. Martha's house?" Michael asked. "She didn't want to be a burden," Martha explained. "When Emma turned 5, Jessica said she needed to try for a better life in a bigger city, where she could earn more. She promised to send part of her paycheck to help with Emma's expenses." "And did she?" Jennifer asked. "At first, yes," Martha said. "But lately it's been less and less. I think she's spending everything on medicine and doctors." They drove in silence for a few minutes, each lost in their own thoughts. Jennifer gently stroked her belly, thinking of the child growing inside and silently promising that she would never let them grow up without knowing their aunt. "Martha," she said suddenly, "Jessica, does she have someone? A boyfriend? Husband?" "No," Martha replied sadly. "She said she could never trust anyone after what happened with Emma's father, and I think she never forgave herself for hurting you either." "But I was the one who hurt her," Jennifer protested. You both hurt each other, Martha said wisely, but the time for fighting is over. Now it's time to fix what can still be fixed. When they arrived in Pittsburgh, Martha drove them through narrow streets until they reached an old building in the city center. The place was simple but clean and tidy. It's here, Martha said, pointing to a window on the second floor. Apartment 23. Michael parked the car, and they all got out. Jennifer looked at the building and felt a tightness in her chest as she imagined her sister living there, alone and sick. Maybe Mrs. Martha should go up first, Michael suggested, to prepare Jessica. Good idea, Martha agreed. Jessica might be shocked if she sees you all suddenly. They climbed the stairs together, but Martha asked them to wait in the hallway while she knocked on the door. Jessica, she called. It's me, Martha. Can I come in? There was no immediate answer. Martha knocked again. Jessica, sweetheart, I know you're there. I need to talk to you. Finally, they heard slow footsteps approaching the door. A weak voice asked, Martha, what time is it? Why aren't you watching Emma? Emma is with me, Martha replied, and I brought some people to see you. There was a long pause. What people? Jessica asked suspiciously. Martha looked at Jennifer, who nodded encouragingly. Your sister is here, Jessica, and her husband. They came to get you. The silence was absolute for several seconds. Then they heard the sound of something dropping to the floor and a muffled exclamation. Martha, tell me you didn't do this, Jessica said in a desperate voice. Tell me you didn't tell them where I am. Sweetheart, listen. No! Jessica shouted from behind the door. I don't want to see her. Not like this. Not this way. Jennifer stepped closer to the door, tears streaming down her face. Jessica, she said softly, please open the door. I need to talk to you. Go away, Jennifer, Jessica replied, clearly crying. You said everything you needed to say 9 years ago. No, I didn't, Jennifer countered. I didn't say I was wrong. I didn't say I was sorry. I didn't say losing my sister was the worst thing that ever happened to me. There was another long silence. Jessica, Jennifer continued, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know I failed you when you needed me most, but please at least let me see that you're okay. I'm not okay, Jessica shouted. I'm sick, I'm ugly, I'm poor. This isn't how I wanted you to see me. I don't care about any of that, Jennifer said firmly. You're my sister, my twin, half of me. Nothing I see will ever change that. Emma stepped closer to the door and knocked lightly. Mommy, she called in a sweet voice, please open the door. I brought Auntie to meet you. Emma, Jessica's voice softened. You should be at home with Grandma Martha. I'm here, sweetheart, Martha said, and I brought you a surprise. Your sister wants to take care of you. She wants to pay for your medical treatment. I don't want charity, Jessica protested. It's not charity, Jennifer said through the door. It's love, it's family. It's everything I should have given you 9 years ago. Finally, they heard the sound of the key turning in the lock. The door opened just a crack, enough to reveal a brown eye identical to Jennifer's. Jessica, Jennifer whispered, reaching out toward her sister. The door swung open completely, revealing a woman who looked physically identical to Jennifer, but visibly thinner and more fragile. Her face was pale with deep dark circles under her eyes, and her clothes seemed too big for her. But to Jennifer, she was still the most beautiful person in the world. My sister, Jennifer murmured, stepping forward to hug her. Jessica instinctively pulled back. No, she said. Don't come close. You're all put together, looking beautiful, and You're perfect, Jennifer interrupted, ignoring the protest and pulling Jessica into a tight embrace. You're alive, and that's all that matters. Jessica resisted for a few seconds before collapsing into her sister's arms, sobbing like a child. Jennifer, I missed you so much, she cried. Me too, Jennifer replied, crying with her. Every single day of my life. Emma ran over to join the hug, and Michael watched the scene with tears in his eyes, understanding the depth of the pain his wife had carried for so many years. Jessica, Jennifer said, pulling back just enough to look into her sister's eyes, we're going to take care of you. We'll fix everything. Medicine, housing, all of it. Jennifer, I can't accept that, Jessica murmured. After everything that happened, what happened was my fault, Jennifer insisted, and only I can make it right. Please let me fix this. Michael stepped forward and introduced himself politely. Jessica, I'm Michael, Jennifer's husband. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. Jessica looked at him shyly. She told you about me. She told me about the sister she lost, Michael replied gently. About the most important person in her life before she met me. She still is the most important, Jennifer corrected, along with you and our son. Jessica's eyes widened. A son? You're pregnant? 6 months along, Jennifer confirmed, rubbing her belly. And you're going to be an aunt. Tears streamed down Jessica's face again. I don't deserve... After everything. You deserve everything, Jennifer said firmly. Because you were brave. Because you raised a wonderful daughter all on your own. Because you survived when I abandoned you. Mommy, Emma interrupted, can you get better now? Will Aunt Jennifer pay for the doctor? Jessica looked at her daughter, then at Jennifer. Emma told you about the heart problem? Yes, Jennifer answered. And I'm already arranging for the best cardiologist in the state. You'll have surgery this week. Jennifer, I can't afford... You don't have to pay for anything, Jennifer interrupted. I have enough money to take care of you and Emma for the rest of your lives if I need to. Great-grandmother Elizabeth's inheritance? Jessica asked bitterly. The inheritance I lost when I got pregnant? Jennifer hesitated. There was one more painful revelation she had to make. Jessica, about the inheritance. What about it? Dad lied, Jennifer confessed. You never lost your share. He just said that to punish you. The money was always rightfully yours. Jessica sank heavily into an old chair in the small apartment. What do you mean he lied? Great-grandmother never set any conditions about marriage or his approval, Jennifer explained. She only said we'd receive it when we turned 25. Dad made up the rest to control our lives. So, all these years, I was entitled to the money? Yes, Jennifer confirmed. And I only found out the truth 3 years ago, when I got access to the original documents. I tried to find you, but I couldn't. Jessica held her head in her hands. You're telling me I suffered through all that poverty, raised my daughter in hardship, couldn't afford my medical treatment, when I had a right to an inheritance? Yes, Jennifer whispered, and that's one more reason I need to make things right. Martha stepped forward and placed a hand on Jessica's shoulder. Sweetheart, there's no use dwelling on what could have been. The important thing is that now you can have a better life. And we'll be a family again, added Emma, snuggling into her mother's lap. Jessica looked around the small apartment, at the peeling walls, the old furniture, the piles of bills on the table. I'll accept the medical help, she finally said, because I need to get better to take care of Emma. But about the rest, about living near you, about being a family, I need time to think. Of course, Jennifer agreed immediately. No pressure, you set the pace. But in the meantime, Michael interjected, how about you two stay at our house during your recovery from surgery, at least until Jessica feels better? Jessica hesitated. I don't know. Please, Mom, begged Emma. I want to meet my cousin, and I want you to get better soon. And I want to take care of you, Jennifer added, like I should have from the beginning. Jessica let out a deep sigh, clearly exhausted both physically and emotionally. All right, she agreed, but just temporarily, only until I recover. Deal, said Jennifer, knowing that once Jessica was close, she'd do everything to convince her to stay. They spent the next hour helping Jessica pack her few belongings. Jennifer was shocked to see how her sister lived. There was hardly any furniture. The fridge was nearly empty, and expensive medications were scattered everywhere. Jessica, she said, when they were alone in the bedroom, why didn't you come to me when things got so hard? Jessica sat on the narrow bed and sighed. Pride, she admitted, and fear. Fear you'd reject me again. I would never do that, Jennifer promised. Never again. How was I supposed to know? Jessica asked sadly. The last time I needed you, you told me I had to face the consequences of my choices alone. The words hit Jennifer like a punch to the gut. She remembered saying that perfectly, and the shame was almost unbearable. Jessica, I was young, stupid, selfish. You were my sister, Jessica interrupted. You were all I had, and when you left me, it felt like half of me died. I felt that too, Jennifer whispered. All these years it's felt like half of me was missing. They sat in silence for a few minutes, processing the depth of the pain they'd both carried for so long. Jennifer, Jessica finally said, do you really forgive me? For getting pregnant young, for disobeying Dad, for causing all that mess? Jessica, Jennifer exclaimed, you did nothing that needs forgiving. You fell in love, you got pregnant. These things happen. The forgiveness that needs to happen is you forgiving me for abandoning you. Then we're even, Jessica said with a weak smile. Mutually forgiven. We are, Jennifer agreed, hugging her sister again. When they returned to the living room, they found Michael talking to Emma about school and games, while Martha packed Jessica's medications into a bag. Ready? Michael asked. Ready, Jessica answered, taking one last look at the apartment where she'd lived for the past few years. Will you miss this place? Jennifer asked. No, Jessica said honestly. This was never a home, it was just a place to survive. On the drive back, Jessica fell asleep against Jennifer's shoulder, drained physically and emotionally. Emma dozed off too, holding her mother's hand. How are you feeling? Michael asked his wife quietly. Like I'm finally whole again, Jennifer answered. But also scared. Scared of what? What if I can't take good care of her? What if she realizes I'm still the same selfish person I was 9 years ago? You're not selfish, Michael said firmly. You made a mistake when you were young. That doesn't define who you are today. I hope you're right, murmured Jennifer. When they arrived at Jennifer and Michael's house, an elegant mansion on the outskirts of the city, Jessica woke up and widened her eyes. Jennifer, is this where you live? It's our home, Jennifer corrected, and now it's yours too. Jessica hesitated before getting out of the car. I don't belong in a place like this. You belong wherever I am, Jennifer said firmly. We're sisters. Wherever I am, you have a place. Martha helped Jessica out of the car, and Emma ran excitedly to explore the spacious gardens. Wow, the little girl shouted. There's a pool. Mom, look, there's a pool. Jessica smiled at her daughter's joy. It's been so long since she's been this happy, she remarked to Martha. Ever since you got sick, Martha replied sadly. She was so worried about you. Michael showed them the main guest room, which had been quickly prepared by the housekeeper while they were away. Jessica, this is your room, he said. And Emma, that room over there is yours. Separate rooms, Emma asked. But I always sleep with Mommy. Because of her illness, Martha explained, so she can rest better. But you can visit whenever you want. Jessica looked around the luxurious room, king-sized bed, private bathroom, balcony overlooking the garden. This is bigger than my entire apartment, she murmured. And now it's yours, Jennifer said, for as long as you want. During dinner served in the large dining room, there were moments of uncomfortable silence mixed with hesitant conversation. It was clear everyone was still processing the day's dramatic changes. Jessica, Michael said during dessert, I scheduled an appointment with the best cardiologist in the area for tomorrow morning. He'll evaluate your case and determine when the surgery can be done. Thank you, Jessica replied timidly, but how much will all this cost? Don't worry about money, Jennifer said. Just focus on getting better. But I need to know, Jessica insisted. I need to know how much I'll owe you. You won't owe me anything, Jennifer replied. I owe you 9 years of support I didn't give, 9 years of love I didn't show. Emma, who had been quiet during the conversation, suddenly asked, Aunt Jennifer, why did you fight for so long? You love each other. Anyone can see that. The child's innocent question created an uncomfortable silence. Sometimes, Emma, Jennifer said carefully, people who love each other very much end up hurting each other very much too. And when that happens, they feel too ashamed to admit they were wrong. But now you've admitted it, Emma observed logically, so you can stop being ashamed. Jessica smiled for the first time that day. Your daughter is very smart, she remarked to Martha. She takes after her mother, Martha replied proudly. After dinner, while Jessica put Emma to bed, Jennifer talked with Michael in the living room. Do you think she'll stay? She asked anxiously. I don't know, Michael answered honestly. But I know you'll do everything you can to show her this time is different. What if it's not enough? Then at least you'll have tried, he said, hugging her, and you'll have given Emma the chance to have a bigger family. I love you, Jennifer said, for supporting me through all this, for accepting my family. Jessica and Emma are my family now too, Michael interrupted. The moment I married you, they became my responsibility too. That night, Jennifer had trouble sleeping. She lay staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything that had happened. In just one day, her life had completely changed. Around 3 in the morning, she heard footsteps in the hallway. She quietly left the bedroom and found Jessica in the kitchen, sitting at the table with a cup of tea. "Can't sleep?" asked Jennifer. "I'm used to insomnia," replied Jessica. "The heart medication makes me restless." Jennifer made herself some tea too and sat beside her sister. "Jessica, can I ask you something?" "Of course. Do you really forgive me? Or are you just being polite?" Jessica stayed silent for a long moment, stirring her tea absent-mindedly. "You know, Jennifer," she finally said, "all these years I dreamed of this moment. The moment you'd come looking for me and apologize. And in my dreams, I always forgave you right away. But in real life, it's more complicated." Jennifer felt her heart tighten. "What do you mean?" "I mean, my head understands we were young, that we made mistakes, that time has passed, but my heart is still hurt. It still feels the pain of that day when you told me I had to face the consequences alone." "Jessica." "Let me finish," Jessica asked gently. "I want to forgive you completely. I want us to be sisters again, but it'll take time for my heart to catch up with my head. Do you understand?" Jennifer nodded, tears welling up again. "I understand perfectly, and I'll wait as long as it takes." "Thank you," said Jessica, "for understanding, and for not giving up on me." "I'll never give up on you," Jennifer promised. "Never again." They talked until dawn, sharing childhood memories, talking about the lost years, trying to rebuild the bridge that had been broken. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us who are just starting out. Now, continuing. The next morning, they all went to the doctor's appointment together. The cardiologist, Dr. Anderson, examined Jessica thoroughly and then called the family in to talk. "The situation is serious, but not irreversible," he explained. "Jessica has a faulty heart valve that needs to be replaced. It's a delicate surgery, but with high chances of success." "When can it be done?" Jennifer asked anxiously. "I can schedule it for the day after tomorrow," the doctor replied. "But Jessica needs to gain a little weight before the procedure. She's too weak right now." "What can we do?" asked Michael. "Nutritious meals, rest, medication to strengthen her heart before surgery. Nothing too complicated, but it's essential." Over the next 2 days, Jennifer devoted herself entirely to caring for Jessica. She prepared special meals, made sure she took her medication on time, and talked with her to distract her from the anxiety. Emma quickly adjusted to life at the mansion, exploring every corner of the gardens, playing in the pool, and developing an instant adoration for Michael, who treated her like his own daughter. Martha decided to stay during the surgery as well, settling into the maid's room but being treated as an honored guest. "I never thought I'd live to see the girls together again," she commented to Jennifer as they watched Jessica and Emma playing in the garden. "Neither did I," Jennifer admitted. "I'd given up hope." "You know," Martha said thoughtfully, "Jessica carried a lot of resentment all these years, but she also carried a lot of love. She talked about you every day." "Really?" Jennifer asked, surprised. "Really?" She told Emma stories from your childhood, showed her old photos, said you were the smartest and bravest person she knew. "But I wasn't brave," Jennifer protested. "When she needed me, I was a coward." "You were young," Martha defended, "and now you're being brave. You're risking your pride, your comfort, to fix the mistakes of the past." On the eve of the surgery, Jessica was visibly nervous. During dinner, she barely touched her food. "What if something goes wrong?" she suddenly asked. "Nothing will go wrong," Jennifer said firmly. "But what if it does?" Jessica insisted. "Who will take care of Emma?" I will, Jennifer replied without hesitation. And Michael too, and Martha. Emma will never be alone. But you barely know me now, Jessica protested. How can you promise something like that? Because you're my sister, Jennifer said simply, and Emma is my niece. Family takes care of family. What if I can't be a good sister? Jessica asked, revealing her own insecurities. What if I stay bitter, full of resentment? Then we'll work on it together, Jennifer answered. We don't expect it to be easy. We expect it to be possible. That night, Emma wanted to sleep in the room with her mother, and Jennifer didn't have the heart to refuse. She found them lying together on the king-size bed, whispering. Can I join you? Jennifer asked from the doorway. Emma nodded eagerly, and Jessica hesitated only a second before agreeing. The three of them lay there, staring at the ceiling. When I was little, Emma said suddenly, I used to dream I had an aunt who would take me out, give me presents, be friends with my mom. And now you do, Jennifer said, moved. Yeah, Emma said happily. And she's even better than I dreamed. Jessica held Jennifer's hand under the covers. Thank you, she whispered. For what? For making my daughter happy, for giving her what I could never give her alone. You gave her love, Jennifer said. That's what matters most. The rest we'll build together. On the morning of the surgery, the whole family accompanied Jessica to the hospital. She was pale and nervous, but tried to stay calm so she wouldn't scare Emma. Everything will be okay, Mom, Emma said, hugging her tightly. Aunt Jennifer promised it would be okay. Aunt Jennifer can't promise that, Jessica said gently, but she promised she'd take care of you, and that's what matters. I'll take care of both of you, Jennifer corrected. You and Emma, forever. When they took Jessica to the operating room, Jennifer felt like a part of her was being taken too. Michael comforted her as they waited in the lobby, but the anxiety was almost unbearable. What if I lose her again? She whispered to her husband. What if now that I finally have her back? It won't happen, Michael said firmly. Jessica is strong. She survived 9 years away from family, raised a daughter alone, worked while sick to support you both. She won't give up now. The surgery lasted 5 hours. 5 endless hours where Jennifer imagined the worst possible scenarios. Emma tried to distract herself with books and games, but was clearly worried too. Aunt Jennifer, she said at one point, if Mom gets better, will you two stop fighting forever? Yes, Jennifer promised. Forever. And will we be a real family? We already are a real family, Jennifer answered, hugging her niece. And we'll grow even closer. When Dr. Anderson finally appeared in the waiting room, Jennifer's heart nearly stopped. How is she? She asked desperately. The surgery was a success, he said with a tired smile. The valve was replaced perfectly. Jessica is recovering well. Jennifer broke down in tears of relief. Emma jumped for joy, and Michael thanked the doctor profusely. When can we see her? Martha asked. She's still in post-op recovery, the doctor explained, but in a few hours she can have brief visits. When they were finally allowed into the room, Jessica was awake but still groggy from anesthesia. Her face had more color than Jennifer had seen in days. How are you feeling? Jennifer asked, holding her sister's hand. Strange, Jessica murmured hoarsely, but better. It felt like I could breathe properly for the first time in years. Mommy, Emma exclaimed, wanting to climb onto the bed. Be careful, sweetheart, the nurse warned. Your mother is still recovering. Emma settled for holding her mother's hand and eagerly recounted everything that had happened during the wait. Aunt Jennifer was so nervous, she said. She kept pacing back and forth and wouldn't stop asking for the time. Jessica looked at Jennifer with a gentle expression. Were you worried about me? Out of my mind with worry, Jennifer admitted. I couldn't bear to lose you again. You won't lose me, Jessica said, squeezing her sister's hand. Not after everything we went through to find each other. Over the following days, as Jessica recovered in the hospital, Jennifer practically lived there. She arrived early, left late, and made sure her sister had everything she needed. You don't have to do this, Jessica protested. I know you have your own life, your pregnancy to take care of. My life includes you now, Jennifer said simply, and my baby will be born into a complete family with an aunt and a cousin. Jennifer, Jessica said hesitantly. "Can I ask you something? Anything? Why are you really doing all this? Is it just guilt? Or is there something more?" Jennifer thought carefully before answering. "It is guilt, yes," she admitted, "but it's also love. It's longing. It's the feeling that for 9 years I lived as if half of me were missing. And now that I've found you, I can't imagine living without you again. Even knowing I still have resentments, even knowing it might take time for me to fully trust you again." "Especially knowing that," Jennifer said, "because it means you're being honest with me. And honesty is what we need to rebuild our relationship." Jessica smiled, the first genuine smile Jennifer had seen from her since they'd reunited. "You know," she said, "I think we really have a chance to make it work this time." "We do," Jennifer agreed, "and we'll have a whole lifetime to prove it to each other." When Jessica was discharged from the hospital a week after the surgery, she was visibly stronger and more energetic. The difference was striking. Her skin had color again, her eyes sparkled, and she could walk without getting tired. "How do you feel?" Michael asked as he helped her settle into the car. "Like a whole new person," Jessica replied in awe. "I'd forgotten what it felt like to have energy." "And now you'll have all the energy in the world," Emma said cheerfully, "to play with me, to meet your little grandson when he's born." "Grandson?" Jessica asked, confused. "Aunt Jennifer's baby," Emma explained. "He'll be my cousin, so he'll be your grandson too, right?" Jessica laughed, a sound Jennifer hadn't heard in so many years it nearly brought her to tears. "I suppose Emma's logic is right," she said. "I'll be a grandma at 27. "And you'll be the youngest and most beautiful grandma in the world," Jennifer declared. Back at the mansion, Jessica seemed different, more relaxed, more present. For the first time since they'd reunited, she truly took in the house, the gardens, the luxury surrounding her. "Jennifer," she said during dinner, "can I ask you something about your life?" "Of course. How did you meet Michael? How did you come into all this?" She gestured vaguely to indicate the house. Jennifer and Michael exchanged glances. "It's a long story," Jennifer said. "We have time," Jessica replied, "and I want to know about the life you've built." So Jennifer told her about her college years, how she'd met Michael at a graduation party, and how they'd built their business together, a digital marketing company that had become very successful. "You were always the smarter one of us two," Jessica remarked proudly. "That's not true," Jennifer protested. "You were always the braver one, the more determined one. I just got luckier." "Luck?" Jessica questioned. "Jennifer, you built an empire. That's not luck." "I built an empty empire," Jennifer corrected, "because the most important person wasn't in it." Jessica fell silent for a moment, clearly moved. "What about Dad?" she finally asked. "Does he know you found me?" Jennifer hesitated. She had avoided this topic on purpose. "He does," she admitted. "He wasn't happy." "I can imagine," Jessica said bitterly. "Does he still think I'm a disgrace to the family?" "He's wrong," Michael said firmly, and Jennifer made that very clear to him. "What did you say to him?" Jessica asked curiously. "I told him he could choose, accept both my daughters or lose them both," Jennifer replied, "and that this time I wouldn't let him tear our family apart." "And he agreed?" "We're still negotiating," Jennifer said diplomatically. In truth, Richard had tried calling several times, but Jennifer wasn't ready for that conversation. First, she wanted to make sure Jessica was safe and well cared for. In the weeks that followed, a new rhythm settled into the house. Jessica recovered quickly from surgery, gaining weight and energy every day. Emma enrolled in the best school in the area and made friends fast. Martha decided to stay permanently, taking on the role of the family's official grandmother. "I never thought I'd live to see a day like this," Martha remarked, watching Jessica and Jennifer cook lunch together in the kitchen. "What do you mean?" Jennifer asked. "The two of you working side by side, talking, laughing," Martha explained. "For years, Jessica cried whenever she spoke of you. And now look at you." It was true. Over the past weeks, a natural closeness had rekindled between the sisters. There were still moments of tension, painful memories that surfaced unexpectedly, but also moments of pure joy. "Martha," Jessica said suddenly, "thank you for never giving up on me, for taking care of Emma when I couldn't, for encouraging me to accept Jennifer's help." "Sweetheart," Martha replied, touched, "you were like a daughter to me. All I ever wanted was to see you happy." "And now I am," Jessica said, looking at Jennifer. "For the first time in years, I really am happy." Jennifer felt her heart warm. It was the sign she'd been waiting for, confirmation that Jessica was truly ready to forgive and start anew. That afternoon, while Emma played in the pool with Michael, the two sisters walked through the garden. "Jennifer," Jessica said, "I need to tell you something." "What?" "I forgive you," she said simply. "Completely. Wholeheartedly." Jennifer stopped walking and turned to face her sister. "Are you sure?" "Absolutely," Jessica confirmed. "I realized holding on to past grudges was only keeping me from enjoying the present. And the present is too good to waste." "Jessica," Jennifer began, emotional. "And one more thing," Jessica interrupted. "I want to stay, permanently, if you'll have me." "If I'll have you?" Jennifer repeated, incredulous. "Jessica, this is your home as much as mine. I don't want to be a burden." "You could never be a burden," Jennifer said firmly. "You're my sister, my best friend, the person I love most in the world, after Michael and the baby." "And Emma," Jessica added. "Emma's already part of the package," Jennifer said, laughing. "She's my favorite niece. She's the only niece you have." "For now," Jennifer said mysteriously. "What do you mean, for now?" "Well," Jennifer began shyly, "Michael and I talked, and if you're interested, we'd like to have more kids, and it'd be wonderful if they grew up with cousins." Jessica's eyes widened. "Are you suggesting I have more kids?" "Only if you want to," Jennifer said quickly. "And when you're ready. And if you find someone worth it. I'm just saying, it would be beautiful to have a big, close-knit family." Jessica laughed loudly. "Jennifer, I barely managed to raise one daughter on my own. Do you really think I'm ready to consider more kids?" "But you're not alone now," Jennifer reminded her. "You have a whole family to support you." "That's true," Jessica agreed thoughtfully. "Maybe in the future." They walked in comfortable silence for a few minutes, watching Emma and Michael playing in the pool, listening to their laughter echoing through the garden. "Jennifer," Jessica said suddenly, "do you think Dad will ever accept this new reality?" "Honestly, I don't know," Jennifer admitted, "but I know I won't give you up just to please him. If he wants to be part of our family, he'll have to accept all of us. And if he doesn't, then that's his loss," Jennifer said firmly, "because we'll be happy with or without his approval." That evening during dinner, Michael made an announcement. "Everyone," he said, "I have a surprise for you." "What kind of surprise?" Emma asked excitedly. "Well," Michael said, exchanging a look with Jennifer, "we talked and decided this house needs some renovations." "Renovations?" Jessica asked, confused. "We're adding more rooms," Jennifer explained. "A special nursery for the baby, an office for you, Jessica, if you want to work with us at the company, and maybe even a small guest house on the ranch for Martha, if she wants privacy but still wants to stay close." "Are you serious?" Jessica asked, emotional. "Completely," Michael confirmed. "This will be our forever home, all of ours." "And there's going to be a playground," Jennifer added excitedly, "for Emma and the baby to play together." Emma jumped from her chair and ran to hug Jennifer and Michael. "Thank you. Thank you. You're the best aunt and uncle in the world." Jessica had tears in her eyes. "I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," Jennifer told her. "Just stay." "Forever?" Jessica asked. "Forever," Jennifer confirmed. 3 months later, when Jennifer went into labor, Jessica was by her side, holding her hand just as she'd dreamed. "Breathe, sis," Jessica encouraged. "You've got this." "It hurts so much," Jennifer groaned. "I know," Jessica said understandingly, "but it'll be worth it. I promise." Michael stood on the other side, also holding his wife's hand and whispering words of encouragement. When the baby was finally born, a healthy, loud little boy, Jessica was the first person Jennifer looked for. "He's beautiful," Jessica whispered emotionally. "Just like his dad." "Want to hold him?" Jennifer offered. Jessica hesitated only a second before taking the baby into her arms. The boy stopped crying immediately, as if recognizing family. "Hi, my little grandson," Jessica murmured tenderly. "I'm your Aunt Jessica. I'm going to take care of you forever." Emma, who had been anxiously waiting in the lobby, was allowed in a few minutes later. "He's so tiny," she exclaimed in wonder. "And he has hair." "Want to touch him?" Jessica asked, bending down so Emma could see better. "Can I?" Emma asked respectfully. "Of course," Jennifer said. "You're his big cousin. It'll be your job to teach him everything." "I'll teach him how to swim, ride a bike and play ball," Emma planned excitedly. "And I'll protect him at school if anyone's mean to him." "I'm sure you'll be the best cousin ever," Michael said, ruffling her hair affectionately. In the days that followed, as Jennifer recovered, Jessica naturally stepped into the role of doting aunt. She helped with nighttime feedings, changed diapers, and soothed the baby when he cried. "You have a natural gift for this," Martha remarked, watching Jessica care for her nephew. "It's practice," said Jessica, laughing. "Remember I took care of Emma all by myself?" "But this is different," observed Martha. "You're taking care because you want to, not because you have to. You're caring with love, not desperation." It was true. Jessica radiated peace and contentment in a way Martha had never seen before. A week after the baby was born, Richard showed up at the house. Jennifer was breastfeeding when the maid announced the visitor. She exchanged glances with Jessica, who was organizing the baby's clothes. "Did he come alone?" asked Jennifer. "Yes, ma'am," replied the maid. "He said he wants to talk to the whole family." "What do you think?" Jennifer asked Jessica. Jessica took a deep breath. "I think it had to happen eventually," she said. "Better now with everyone together." Michael went downstairs to greet Richard and brought him to the living room. The businessman looked older, more tired than Jennifer remembered. "Father?" Jennifer greeted politely. "Jennifer," he replied, looking at the baby in her arms. "Is this my grandson?" "Yes," she confirmed, but didn't offer to let him hold the baby. Richard glanced around the room until his eyes landed on Jessica, who was sitting in a nearby armchair with Emma beside her. "Jessica," he said after a long pause. "Father," she replied coldly. You're doing well. I heard you had surgery." "I'm great," Jessica said. "Thanks for your concern." The sarcasm in her voice was unmistakable. Richard seemed to shrink a little. I came here to talk to all of you," he said hesitantly. "We're listening," Michael said politely. Richard looked at Emma, who was watching him curiously. "You must be Emma," he said with an attempted smile. "I am," she replied shyly. "Are you my grandpa?" The innocent question created an uncomfortable silence. Richard looked at Jessica as if asking for permission. "Technically, yes," Jessica answered carefully, "but real grandpas are people who are part of their grandchildren's lives." "I'd like to be part of it," Richard said quickly, "if you'll let me." "Why?" Jessica asked directly. "Why now? Why after 9 years?" Richard sighed deeply. "Because I realized I was wrong," he admitted. "Completely wrong." "Go on," Jennifer encouraged. "When you left your own marriage to find Jessica," he said to Jennifer, "when I saw how willing you were to give up everything for your sister, I understood I hadn't just lost one daughter, but two." "What do you mean?" Jessica asked. "Because all these years, Jennifer suffered too," Richard explained. "She also carried the pain of separation. And I was to blame for that too." Jennifer felt her eyes well up. It was the first time her father had acknowledged her pain. "I was trying to protect the family," Richard continued, "but I ended up destroying it." "Father," Jessica said in a controlled voice, "you kicked me out of the house when I was pregnant. You threatened me. You made me believe I had no place in this family. How can you expect me to just forgive you?" "I don't," Richard said humbly. "I know I don't deserve forgiveness. But I want to try to fix what can still be fixed." "And how do you plan to do that?" Michael asked. Richard took a deep breath. "First, I want to formally apologize," he said, looking directly at Jessica, "for what I did to you, for the cruel words, for throwing you out when you needed support the most. I was wrong, and there's no excuse for what I did." Jessica stayed silent, processing his words. Second, Richard continued, I want to get to know my granddaughter, if she'll let me. And I want to be part of my grandson's life too. And third, Jennifer asked. Third, I want Jessica to officially receive her share of great-grandmother Elizabeth's inheritance, he said. With all the interest accumulated over the years, it's rightfully hers. Jessica's eyes widened. Are you serious? Completely, confirmed Richard. I've already had the lawyer prepare the documents. Jessica, you'll receive a substantial amount. Enough to be independent for the rest of your life if you want. I don't want to be independent, Jessica said, surprising everyone. I want to be part of this family. Really? Richard asked hopefully. But with conditions, Jessica added firmly. What are they? First, you'll never try to control my life or the choices I make again. I agree, Richard said immediately. Second, if I ever decide to be with someone, you'll respect my choice, no matter who it is. I agree, he repeated. And third, you'll treat Emma with the same love and attention you give to your grandson. No differences, no prejudice. Richard looked at Emma, who watched him expectantly. Can I try? He asked the girl. Can I try to be a good grandfather to you? Emma glanced at her mother, who nodded encouragingly. You can, she said shyly, but you'll have to learn to play video games, and you'll have to let me win sometimes. Richard laughed, the first genuine laugh any of them had heard from him in years. I think I can learn video games, he said, and I promise to let you win, sometimes. And you'll have to tell bedtime stories, Emma added, warming up to the idea, and take me out for ice cream. I can do all that, Richard promised, his voice thick with emotion for the first time. Jennifer looked around the room, at her husband holding their newborn son, at her sister cautiously talking to their father, at her niece planning activities with her grandfather, at Martha watching everything with satisfaction. Jessica, she said suddenly, remember when we were little and made all those plans about what our family would be like in the future? I remember, Jessica replied, smiling. We always said we'd have kids at the same time so they could grow up together, and that we'd live near each other forever, and that our kids would be best friends, just like we were. I think we made it, Jennifer said emotionally, even if it took longer than we planned. We did, Jessica agreed, and this time it's forever. Richard approached hesitantly. Can I meet my grandson? He asked timidly. Jennifer looked at Michael, who nodded. Then she looked at Jessica, who also nodded. Of course, she said, offering the baby. Dad, this is Ethan, your grandson Ethan. Richard held the baby carefully, his eyes filled with tears. He's perfect, he murmured. Absolutely perfect. Just like his family, Jessica said, stepping closer to gently touch her nephew's tiny hand. Just like our family, Jennifer corrected, putting an arm around her sister's shoulders. As she watched her father holding her son, her sister by her side, her niece plotting mischief with her grandfather, and her husband smiling at the scene, Jennifer knew they had finally done it. They had finally become a real family. 6 months later, at Ethan's christening party, Jennifer gave an emotional speech to the guests. A year ago, she began, I thought I had everything in life. A successful career, a wonderful husband, a baby on the way. But in truth, I was missing the most important thing, family. She looked at Jessica, who was holding Ethan while Emma played with the other children nearby. Today, as I look around this party, I see that our family isn't perfect, she continued. We've made mistakes, hurt each other, lost precious years because of pride and misunderstandings. But I also see that a true family isn't one that never makes mistakes, she went on. It's one that knows how to apologize, how to start over, and chooses love over resentment. Jessica approached with Ethan in her arms. She's the one who fights to stay together, Jessica added, even when it seems impossible. And she's the one who celebrates every victory together, said Jennifer, taking her son into her arms. Like we're celebrating today. Michael joined them, wrapping his arms around both. The family we've formed may not be traditional, he said, but it's ours. And it's perfect just the way it is. Emma ran to join the group, followed by Martha and even Richard, who had become a devoted grandfather in recent months. "To our family," toasted Jennifer, raising her glass. "To our family," everyone echoed in unison. And as the guests toasted and celebrated, Jennifer held Jessica's hand and whispered, "Thank you for forgiving me. Thank you for coming back." "Thank you for not giving up on me," Jessica replied. "Thank you for coming after me." "Always," Jennifer promised. "Forever." Years later, when they told this story to Ethan and Emma, they would say it was the day a brave girl crashed a wedding with an old photo and changed the destiny of an entire family. The day love conquered pride. The day sisters found each other again. The day they proved it's never too late to ask for forgiveness, to start over, to choose family. End of story. And you, what did you think of this story of reconciliation? Do you believe Jennifer made the right decision by seeking out Jessica? Share in the comments which part moved you the most, and if you have any similar experiences of family reconciliation. Your opinion is very important to us. Don't forget to like and, most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss other heartwarming stories like this one.